Hey guys, welcome back to this week's chapter. My name is Ali, and with me today is
Jacorie.
today we're covering chapter 20, late medieval and early Renaissance Northern Europe.
Let's begin with the key ideas. Oil painting becomes very popular at this time. The usage of oil painting as a medium was perfected at this time and became the most favored and popular form of painting medium throughout Europe.
Next up is portrait painting. A lot of the artworks that came out of the late medieval and early Renaissance eras were portraits. Flemish painters such as Rogier van der Weyden became popular and made a lot of money because of his realistic drawings. You'll see what I'm talking about in the upcoming slides.
Printmaking became widely used because before printmaking art had to be handmade, and with the invention of the movable type, artists were able to mass produce art. Germany had the most artistic improvement using printmaking techniques and mass-produced art. Some of the most prolific printmakers were made during this era, like Schroninger and Dürer, but their story is for a different chapter.
And the Holy Roman Empire was commissioning artwork at this time as well. And their artwork and sculptures retain some of the characteristics from the international Gothic style from the previous century. The patronage of art was also developing at this time. Nobility from France commissioned some of the greatest artwork, despite suffering catastrophic financial losses from the Hundred Years' War.
Burgundy and Flanders also saw patronage of art commissioned by the wealthy dukes, such as the Wells and Moses, which we will discuss later.
Let's move on to the vocabulary. We have some fancy words today. Do you know what these words mean, Jacorie?
Yes, I do. But first, let's ask them. Comment below what you guys think they mean. So first up, we have the word panel. Panel printing is a type of painting that is made on a flat panel of wood. Panel printing can be made on a singular piece of wood or it could be combined to make a larger panel.
Donors, or as we've been calling them, patrons, are donors that commission artwork, whether for personal use or as a donation to a monastery or some other public place.
The next word is a fancy one, intaglio.
That sounds like a Harry Potter character.
Intaglio is a printmaking technique where a plate is inside so the ink lies below the plate's surface.
Next up is linear effect. Now, you should all know this word, but just because I'm nice, I'll refresh your memory. Linear effect is a system of creating an illusion of depth on a flat surface.
Woodcuts is a relief cutting technique. An artist carves an image into the surface of a block of wood.
Last but not least, a guild is a group of skilled artists or merchants that practice and perfect their craft and oversee that this practice satisfies a high level of achievement. Now, for the required works for this chapter, we have St. Luke drawing the Virgin and Deposition, both by Roger de Van
The Last
Weyden.
Supper The Last Supper by Boats and January from Les Tris Riches. Here is the Duke de Berry.
That last one was a complicated one, wasn't it?
Yep, let's analyze the content, context, form, and function of these four paintings and sculptures.
First up, we have St. Luke drawing the Virgin. Now, this one is filled with hidden messages, and it dates back to 1435 to 1440. This is one of van der Weyden's most prolific pieces.
The context of this painting is that it was painted mid-15th century in Flanders. Flanders at this time was one of the wealthiest regions in Europe. Artwork was being commissioned by wealthy merchants, guild, royalty, and clergy alike. The function of this artwork relates to the context because it is believed that the artwork was commissioned by the city's art guild, making it a patronized artwork.
The form of this painting is that the artwork contains an insane amount of detail. Plus, it is painted using oil paint on wood, which allows Whedon to make this masterpiece. The kind of detail was new to other regions in Europe, but was introduced by Flemish painters. The content also relates to the context and function, because the main subject of the artwork, St. Luke, is believed to be an artist himself. In this painting, on the right side is St. Luke, and the left is Mary, and she appears to be nursing her son. St. Luke appears to be drawing Mary, and the colors are also a lot warmer than most of the artwork from that period.
Honestly, the detail in this painting is crazy. Like most Flemish paintings, a lot of the things pictured in the painting hold a deeper meaning. For example, the armrest of the bench has a carving that pictures Adam, Eve, and the serpent. It is believed by historians that this is to show that Mary is the new Eve and Christ is the new Adam, and Christ will redeem humanity from the original sin. Also, the background is so detailed, right?
Yeah, I noticed that too. Like the houses in the background represent wealth, the same kind of wealth that Flemish merchants had around the 15th century. Art fact:
It is commonly believed that St. Luke in the painting is a depiction of Waden himself.
in this slide, you can see the close-ups of from the painting, and you can see the houses in the back and the armrest that was mentioned earlier, and Saint Luke, who was drawing the Virgin. Next up, we have Deposition, another one of Waden's works. This was painted around the same time as Saint Luke and the Virgin, around 1438. So this painting was yet again a patronized work. It was commissioned by the Archers Guild of Louvain as a donation to the Church of Notre Dame Ors Lemer. That was a tough one to pronounce. The artwork is a Flemish painting, and what is one of the key details of Flemish paintings? Yep, you guessed it, the detail. The artwork is so detailed that Whedon even included the symbol of the guild in the borders of the painting.
The form of this painting is that it is part of a larger triptych and is very much detailed. Despite being oil on wood, there are visible signs of relief carving in the artwork as well. The center of the piece depicts Christ being brought down from the cross, and Mary on the left of Christ striking a similar pose as him. This creates the impression that Mary suffered the same pain as him. Mary and Christ are both being held by two people who are supporting them, which further points to the emotional impact of the scene depicted.
The colors are also quite vibrant, with a gold background in the different colored dresses. Simultaneously, however, the bodies in the painting look pale with grief, which further points to the emotional statement. The function of this painting is that it was made for the guild to be donated to the church mentioned above.
The next piece is called The Last Supper. It is an altarpiece painted by Dirk Bouts, a Flemish painter around 1465. This piece is a part of a larger triptych, similar to the last one and holds religious significance. The context of this painting is similar to the ones that we have already talked about. This too is a patron-sponsored painting. Flemish techniques such as vibrant colors, elongated figures, and Flemish attire, the concept of this depiction of a Last Supper is different from other depictions of the same topic.
This painting includes Christ, but does not depict him as he was in the biblical narrative. In this perspective, Christ is performing a ritual of consecrating the Eucharistic wafer. This relates to the context because it was patronized by the Confraternity of the Holy Sacrament, which worships the Eucharist. The painting is asymmetrically divided so that there is no one in front of Christ, and the audience's view of him is without obstruction. The painting also contains Flemish techniques, such as the contrast of warm and vibrant colors, elongated figures, and attention to detail. The form is also similar to the Flemish master technique of using oil paint and filling the painting with minor details that hold deeper meaning. What do you think was the function of this artwork, Jacorie?
I'm guessing since it was patron-sponsored by a religious group, it was meant as a religious piece?
Exactly. As I said before, this is part of a larger triptych and is the altarpiece.
Okay, last but not least, we have a sculpture. The Well of Moses was an Asneris limestone sculpture made circa 1396-1406.
The oldest one on our list, right?
Yep. So the context of this sculpture is that it acted as a well where Jesus' blood flowed down, filling it below. It cleansed the prophets and was called a fountain of everlasting life. The well acted as a way to admire not only the prophets and angels, but also grieve with them. It feels majestic, and you can't help but be overwhelmed by it and what it stands for.
The content is pretty epic as well. The sculptures depict Moses and five other prophets. Here we have many personalized characteristics with each of their features and costumes, giving them a unique feeling of realism and credibility of who they are. Prophets who are conveying the message of the divine power. Here in this photo of the sculpture, we see Moses with his horns and elegant beard, giving him a feeling of a wise man. We also see David, who is elegantly dressed and wearing the crown of a Gothic king.
The function of the sculpture has a divine approach to it. The well of Moses functioned as a well. The blood of crucified Christ symbolically flowed down, and whoever drank it was redeemed. The form of the sculpture is that it is 6 feet tall, made out of limestone and painted and gilded by Jean Moel.
Yeah, I think that's how you say his name. So there we have it. A quick recap of chapter 20. If you have any questions, feel free to type them out.
Till next time, peace.
Bye.